What's up, everybody? My name is Parasite. Welcome back to Rebuilding Nebraska. Today we start our first season here with the Nebraska Cornhuskers as we look to push forward on what was a good year, and now the rebuild starts in earnest. We're going to start here with the coaching changes and the players leaving. I haven't looked at these yet, so it's going to be a surprise to me. Hopefully we can keep our coaches from last year. I think we will. I think ultimately it was a successful season. We ended up with a winning record, second at 7-6. We went to our first bowl game in a while, and we won it. We were awful in the Big Ten, but still, I think with where this team is at, this was not a strong team. I think it's an okay season. All right, let's get started. Coaching changes. Do we lose anyone important? Go to the Big Ten and go down to Nebraska. Do we keep our assistant coaches? I would like to. I guess, yeah. We're not even on here at all. So no extensions, no anything. They just... everything resumes as normal, apparently. So, yeah, I'm all for that. Now, players leaving. I wouldn't expect anyone other than the seniors to leave. I don't think any freshmen are going to transfer. And I don't think anyone's going to go pro. I think the only ones that might is like Garrett Nelson. I think that might legitimately be it. So, as long as he stays, I think we're only going to be losing seniors. Hopefully that's the case. Let's see. Wow, he is declaring. Garrett Nelson is declaring for the draft, and he's going to go in the 7th round. Probably not smart. It looks like we might actually have 2 other draft picks. JoJo Damon, projected 2nd round. Of all the players in our team, I thought he's probably the most likely to get drafted. And I'm kind of surprised about Austin Allen. Projected round 5. I mean, he's a good player, 89 overall, 6'9", but it's still kind of surprising to me. And it looks like no other underclassmen are leaving. So all of our redshirted freshmen are staying. And yeah, we'll be losing Cam Taylor-Britt. I thought he might go pro. He had a really good season. He was up there in the awards, but apparently not. And other than that, Omar Manning, Martin, all 3 of our wide receivers. Ben Still is graduating. I didn't think he would go pro. It looks like he's not. Adrian Martinez is graduating, and unsurprisingly, he's not going pro. Deontay Williams, I thought, also had a chance to get drafted. Kind of surprised he didn't, or he's not going to. But Connor Culp also graduating, of course, and Caleb Tanner, our starting left outside linebacker. So it hurts to be without Nelson, especially because we haven't recruited any outside linebackers or linebackers at all. So that's a little worrying. I was really planning on having Garrett Nelson as our right outside linebacker and our highest overall player on our defense next season. But unfortunately, looks like it's not going to be the case. It looks like, though, I can persuade him into staying, and the persuasion chance is very high. But which one do I choose? We're not going to win the conference championship. We're not going to win the national championship. He's definitely not going to be a first 2-round picks. 3rd round, maybe. And I doubt he wins any awards. So it's either you regret not staying, getting his college degree, or 3rd round. He's currently expected to go in the 7th. One more year as our best defensive player, he might go in the 3rd round. I think that's the one I'm going to try. I'm not sure how successful the college degree one will get. So I'm going to go round 3 NFL draft pick. Hopefully it persuades him into staying. Yes, he's staying. Garrett Nelson is going to be here. That is massive. If we could lose any underclassman to lose, like, he's probably the worst. Not only is he going to be one of our highest rated players, but our linebacker position isn't great next year. So it's pretty big that Garrett Nelson's going to be staying. And I think it makes sense. Why go pro early to go in the 7th round when you can, be here as a guaranteed starter for 1 more year? Up your stock, hopefully be drafted a little bit earlier, because he didn't even have an amazing season. He wasn't up for any awards. He didn't lead us in like any statistical category. So it's a good thing he's staying for both him and for us. Both JoJo Damon and Austin Allen are projected to get drafted. Did they, and where did they go? JoJo Damon in the 2nd round and Austin Allen in the 5th round. Our first 2 drafted players. Now our last chance to do a little bit of recruiting and put the cherry on top to win a pretty solid draft class. Let's see where we're currently ranked. We currently have the number 4 draft class in the nation. That is significant. For a while, we were very low, but that was because we just didn't have many commits at all. I feel like almost halfway, almost 2/3 of the way through the season, we had like 2 or 3 commits. But we currently have 16. We've got a lot of commits in a very short period, and it has thrown us up this top classes. If we get a couple guys that I'm targeting in this recruiting session, I think we could hit number 1, because there is a 5-star recruit in there as well. So let's look at it. The 3 guys I am targeting are Blake Harper, Michael Newsom, and Brandon Wood. The other guys that are high overalls, Greg McKinney, we have a 5,000 point lead. I would expect we can still get him without putting points into him. Maybe somebody could go all in, but even if we do lose him, it's not the end of the world. We have quite a few receivers, even if they're not that great. Steve Dixon, pretty high overall, but we got a 3,000 point lead on him as well. He is a JUCO though, a JUCO junior. So I'd rather have Brandon Wood, who's going to be a freshman at 77 overall, compared to a junior who's 81. I think that just makes sense. So I'm not going to go after him when I have the option of going after Wood and still possibly getting Dixon if no one goes in heavy for him. And the same thing's kind of true for Sean Smith. We've got a 3,000 point lead on him as well. And he would just be a backup. He'd be some depth at safety, which we kind of need. But we've got a 3,000 point lead. I don't think it's worth putting points into him at this point when you have 3 guys we are heavily targeting. And the rest of the guys are like Kyle Frazier. He'd be a fullback, so I'm not going to bother putting points into him. We've got extra tight ends, so we can move one of them to fullback. Matt Stone, punter, 2,000 point lead on him. And if we got him, he'd be redshirted this year and start next year, which is preferable, but I don't think it's worth putting points into him right now. Andrew Jones, another receiver we've got a big lead on, but he's only a 69 overall. He can't catch, but he's 96 speed at 6'7". So that's why I'm interested. Obviously, he'd be redshirted. Wouldn't play until probably redshirt sophomore year at the earliest. So not super high priority. Hoping we can still get him, though, with that 3,000 point lead. Brian Newman, we've got a 1,500 point lead. He'd just be some depth at defensive end, which is needed, but not enough so that I'm going to go after him over the top 3 guys I'm going after. And the same kind of true for Larry Rice. Don't have much of a lead, but we have offered him a scholarship. If nobody else goes in for him, he'd just be some good depth at defensive tackle. All right. Now I need to make a decision. How many points am I putting on Harper, Newsome, and Wood? I want them all, but number 1, I want Harper. Harper be the highest overall player we've gotten in this draft class. He's a 5-star recruit. He would be a big get for us. So this is how I think I'm going to do it. You only have 10,000 points, which is a little disappointing. You can't have up to 15,000, which would have been coming pretty huge, but I just don't have the coaching points to be able to put points into that and get it up to 15,000 right now. I actually can't put any points into it yet. I haven't been able to reach that tier. So we've only got 10,000 points to work with. Blake Harper's my number 1. I'm going to put 5,500 into him. I'm hoping that'll be enough. I'm still not even that confident, but I still would like both of these guys. And I think 1,500 into Newsome with a current 900 point lead, and he's really leaned our way the past couple of weeks. I'm hoping that'll be enough. And then Brandon Wood, 3,000 points. I'm not sure. Oklahoma State have been right up there with us for the last couple of weeks, so I think we have to go harder on him than we do on Newsome. And Wood would be a starter this year, I believe, while Newsome probably wouldn't. So maybe, I mean, I've talked about it before, but Newsome probably would eventually fill a bigger need. You know, if he redshirts next year and then the year after that, he'd be a starter. But we'll have a lot less needs next year in terms of our recruiting class. So we should have a pretty decent opportunity to scout some pretty good guards that could possibly start as true freshmen. So I think it's more valuable to have the guy that's going to start immediately in Brandon Wood. So I'm going to put more points into him, but I'm still going to try to go for Newsome. And I really want Harper. Obviously, worst case scenario is we get none of them. That would be bad. I mean, we still have a number 4 recruiting class. It'd go down a little bit, I'm sure, after this period, but we still have a pretty solid recruiting class. But these are 3 of the best players on the board the entire season. So I would like to get as many of them as possible. Fingers crossed we can get Blake Harper. Arizona State have been right up there with us the entire season. Brandon Wood, I think 3,000 might be enough. You just never know. Sometimes they just go all 10,000 or 15,000 or how many points they have in one player and you just never stand a chance. Sometimes they only put a couple thousand in them. So I don't know. I think this is the right call though. I think this gives us the best chance of getting everyone and getting at least one of them, which, yeah. This team needs a lot of help, so I need as many players as I can. I want to have an opportunity to get all 3. I don't think it's worth putting everything into Blake Harper just to guarantee we get him when we have all these other holes we need to fill. So hopefully this will be enough. All right, let's advance to signing day. It's going to take a bit, but I want to show my actual reaction as it happens, because this is a big recruiting class. This is our first one. This is really going to set the tone for the rest of this series. Do we get the guys we want? We get Blake Harper. We don't get Brandon Wood. He actually goes to Rutgers, but we get Harper and Newsome. I'm okay with that. Obviously, I really kind of wanted Brandon Wood. We didn't even get McKinney. He went to Florida State. We didn't get Sean Smith. He went to Cal. What about, we didn't get Andrew Jones. We did get Brian Newman. What about the other dude we had the big lead on? Wasn't there one other guy we had a pretty big lead on? I thought there was. I'm blanking on his name, but I'm surprised we didn't get Andrew Jones. I'm surprised Oklahoma went heavy for him. I'm kind of surprised we did get Brian Newman. Larry Rice, I wasn't really expecting. Sean Smith, I'm a little surprised. Greg McKinney, I am shocked. They had to have gone all in on him. We had a 5,000 point lead, and he still goes to Florida State. That one hurts. So after adding another 5-star recruit to our recruiting class, where do we finish up? We were 4th, and we are now 2nd, just barely behind Ohio State. They got 11 4-star recruits. We got 14 3-star recruits, 24 in total. I think we can give out a total of 25 scholarships, and I wanted to give out as many as possible, and we nearly hit every single one. 24 scholarships. Let's see how much we missed on these other players. I'm really curious about the receiver. Oh, Dixon's the other one. He didn't even agree a deal. That's so annoying. I hate when that happens. A 3,000 point lead. No one even tried for him on deadline, on the signing day, and he doesn't decide to sign for a team. He'd been really good to have, especially after we didn't get Brandon Wood. Man, that's really annoying. Matt Stone also didn't sign. That's so annoying as well. Michael Newsom. We just barely got Michael Newsom. 285 points away from losing him to USC. That could have been pretty bad. Brandon Wood. Oh, dude. Rutgers must have put every single point available into him, as did Oklahoma State. Almost every point for Oklahoma State, I'm guessing, because Rutgers came out of nowhere. It was the 2-horse race. I don't know where Rutgers came from, but that's frustrating. Greg McKinney, though, how did we lose him to Florida State? They must have gone like all 10,000 in him. Yeah, they did. Florida State put 10,000 points into Greg McKinney. Fair play. Sean Smith, Cal went all out for him too. Like we had a 3,000 point lead or 2,000. And yeah, dude, I'm surprised they went all in for these players. Kyle Frazier, we almost got. I don't know if he would have committed if we end up being top, but it's not that big of a loss. Andrew Jones, dude, Oklahoma. Why would, I mean, fair play. They're going all in on a 69 overall on signing day. That's kind of weird. Brian Newman, we did get. Looks like nobody went in for him. Larry Rice, we would have had to put some points into. Would have been nice, but not a big loss. And these guys we weren't really targeting, so kind of not really surprised. Blake Harper, 2,000 points. I'm surprised Arizona State didn't go heavier on him. They were in them all year long, but they only put, what, 3,000 points into him on signing day? It's not enough. Brandon Kendrick, also not one I expected to get. So our recruiting class ends up being Michael Newsom, Brian Newman, Blake Harper, Rodney Jennings, James Hill, Jake Pierce, Leon Young, Brian Donaldson. At least we got one wide receiver, or two wide receivers actually, James Hill and Brian Donaldson. So that makes up for not getting that other one. Mark Graham, Travis Williams, Caleb Nolan, Tim Hart, Antonio Gilmore, Chris Brown, Tony Roberts, Gary Thompson, Alex McMahon, Jeff Holland, and Ryan Brown. That's a heck of a recruiting class. So now it's time for position changes. We've got two athletes who we know what position they're playing. Jeff Holland is going to be our starting quarterback. He's moving to quarterback, and Brian Donaldson, I think he can play quarterback as well, but I don't think he's as good as Jeff Holland. He could also play running back, but I think he's more needed at wide receiver, and I think his skill set fits it a little bit better. So Brian Donaldson's going to be a wide receiver. There's all of our athletes assigned. So our quarterback room looks like this. Who is Sam Green? Is that a walk-on? Did we get a 79 overall walk-on JUCO junior? I haven't seen that very often. Yeah. What are his attributes? I mean, 79 speed, not bad. Not Jeff Holland speed, but still not bad. In terms of breaking tackles, not anywhere close to Jeff Holland. But how is he as a quarterback? Because that could be important. 89 throw power, 86 accuracy compared to 78 for Jeff Holland. I mean, I'm not totally against redshirting Jeff Holland. 4 years of a better Jeff Holland is better than 4 years of a less good Jeff Holland. I did not expect that. Looks like we might have a new starting quarterback, and it's not Jeff Holland. It's Sam Green. Interesting. Running back, no surprises there. Looks like we do have a walk-on Brian McCray. Might make the team, might not. Not too sure. Are any of these guys going to be better at fullback than the one of the tight ends? Doesn't really look like in terms of trucking. I doubt any of them has that great of blocking, especially compared to the tight ends. Yeah, none of them can block at all. So they're going to stay at running back. We don't have a fullback, but we're going to move one of our tight ends. So we've got Jennings, who's probably going to be the starter. Hickman as the number 2. So one of Fedone or Carney are probably going to move to fullback. Carney's got better speed, which might be better utilized at tight end, but he might not get a lot of opportunities. What about like receiving and break tackle ability? So break tackle is better for Fedone. Trucking is slightly better for Carney. Aloofness slightly better for Fedone. They're not going to get the ball a lot, if really at all, but they're mostly just going to be there for blocking. As a receiver, Fedone's got a little bit better catching. Of course, this can change as their attributes change, but I think it's generally kind of stays similar in terms of how they compare. As a blocker, Fedone's a little bit better. Impact as well. I mean, even if I do move into fullback, doesn't mean he still can't play tight end. So I think I should rather have the little bit better player, I think. So I'm going to move Fedone to fullback. Goes to a 70 overall. So now we're not going to get a walk-on fullback. That's gonna be nice. So our halfback situation, Pierce, Johnson, Evan, Yant, Irvin, McCray. McCray's got some speed too. That's nice. That's something we haven't really had. Receiver, we've got Donaldson and Hill. Looks like another walk-on, Thompson, a receiver. Good speed, 91 speed, 6'3". Not bad. Pretty low overall, but still not bad. I doubt I want to move any of these guys. I don't know what position I'd move them to. None of them are good at breaking tackles or anything, so they can't be running backs. And none of them are athletes, so they can't really be any sort of defensive players. Now, offensive line. So Mark Graham and Newsome, I think they're going to be guards. Let's see. We've got Roberts, who I think is going to start at left guard, actually, year 1. I'll have to compare. Right. Well, I think I'll probably move Newly to right guard this year. I'd rather the tackle starts at left guard. I think it's more important to have a pass blocker at left guard than right guard, and like a power run blocker at right guard. So Newly's probably gonna play right guard. Now I need to decide who I want to start left guard between Michael Newsome and that center Tony Roberts. One of them is gonna start at guard. The other is probably gonna be redshirted. So Newsome, 77 pass, 86 run block. Good lord. 85 strength, 76 impact blocking. Now you can see why I recruited him. That might be better than that center in terms of actual attributes. His overall is a little bit higher. I mean, he's a little bit more balanced. Impact a little bit better. Strength lower. I might actually go with the left tackle playing guard. And redshirt Tony Roberts. Move somebody else to be the backup center, so I don't get a walk on there. So Newsome is going to go left guard, puts him down to... He actually goes up higher at center, but 76 at left guard. Just for comparison, I know it's not the be-all, end-all. He actually goes down to a 74. So yeah. Michael Newsome is going to be our starting left guard. Newly's going to be our starting right guard. Left tackle, we've got Projaska and Miller. Graham, I'll keep him at left tackle for now. Or do I move him to guard? I think he's probably going to start at right guard. Maybe not. Newly's only a junior. Yeah, I'll keep him at tackle for now. I think we're balanced on the other side, yeah. We'll have to move one of these guys to center so I can redshirt Tony Roberts and be fine. Now, defensive line. Did a lot of chop and change here. Robinson's going to start at left end. Gilmore's going to start at right end. We've got Newman. We've got a walk-on Snyder as well. Is he much of a pass rusher? Not terrible. Better than what we currently have year 1. So, Rogers, he might move to defensive tackle now. Be a little bit of depth because he's not much of a pass rusher. He's 295 pounds. But we have a lot of true freshmen. I think Chris Brown, I'll redshirt. Actually, I might redshirt both of them and put Newman or Snyder on left end. Let's look at defensive tackle. We've got 4. I like to have, because I'm probably going to redshirt one of these two, probably Brown. I like to have 4 players available at defensive tackle. So I am going to move Rogers, 2D tackle, goes down to a 71. And I think I'm going to redshirt both Brown and Nolan. Outside linebacker, this is going to be interesting. So we've got Payne, but I think we've got the Will Honus, redshirt senior. I think Reimer's going to play left outside linebacker. He goes down by 2, but I'm okay by that. Hendrick gets to be the backup middle linebacker now, and Snodgrass. Left-hand side, we got Reimer and Payne and Butler. I think we need to move one of them over to the right. Oh, we've got Gunnarsson and a walk-on that's not any good. So if we need to cut somebody, he's going to be the one to cut. I think that's fine in terms of how that sets up. I don't think I'm going to redshirt any of these guys. Most of them can't be. So, yeah, I think that'll be our linebackers. Cornerback. We'll be starting some freshmen. Gary Thompson for sure. I wish we would have got at least one of those other two guys, because after them, it's not great. So Williams might actually start as a freshman now. I didn't plan on it, but like the attributes of Braxton Clark are not very good. He's not going to be getting the 80s with his improvement, and Travis Williams is already there. So Tyreek Johnson is a little bit better. He might be good enough that I can start him at slot and maybe redshirt Williams. Malik Williams is going to at least be the number 4, I think. His awareness might be a little low, which could kind of hold him back, but he's got some pretty decent coverage attributes. I doubt I'm going to move any safeties to corner. Harper is going to be my starting free safety. Goes down to 79. How's McMahon go? Down to 76. Only goes down 1. Farmer stays the same. So what are his coverage skills? 70. It's actually better than Blake Harper. A little bit. So I might actually move Farmer to free safety and keep Harper as our starting strong safety. Not the plan, but I think it'll actually work better. So if Harper will redshirt McMahon and Gifford will be his backup. At free safety, we've got Farmer and Pula Gates. I think that's fine. At kicker, probably going to cut Brandon Frank. And at punter, we've got just Prizup. And that's it. Those are the position changes. That's what our team's going to look like next year. Now let's take a quick look through the training results. Who got better? So Nelson's now a 91. He's going to be our highest overall player. Followed by Honas, playing his only season here as a 90 overall. Cam Jurgens goes up by 6 to an 88. All 3 of these guys seniors. Projaska as a true sophomore is going to be an 84. And then Robinson, the redshirt junior, is also an 84. Corcoran, the redshirt sophomore, also an 84. Miles Farmer, 82. Let's go by position now. Smothers goes up 4. Speed goes up. Agility and acceleration go up. Awareness goes up 4. What's passing attributes look like now? 77, 78. I mean, it's better. It's still not great. He's going to be a backup. Amir Johnson goes up by 4 to 80 overall. He's looking better. 74 break tackle now. 70 trucking, 69 elusiveness. Still not as high as that true freshman, so he might still start over him, even though Ramir Johnson had a solid year last year. Yant's gone up by 5, though, as has Irvin. Yant, 93 speed now. Still just not much in terms of breaking tackles. 72 trucking. And then Irvin, I mean, he's not great. He could be a cut candidate, even though he is a freshman, but if we need a spot, that's where I'd probably make the spot at. Fedone goes up to a 74 at fullback. Lure is going to be our highest rated wide receiver at 79 overall, and his speed doesn't go up. I was banking on that speed going up to at least 81, but no, he's going to start at 79 speed. And he'll be a possession guy, but he's, in terms of actual hands and everything, he's probably the best on the team. Did Betts improve much? It's still low 70s for his receiver ratings, but 99 excel, 98 agility. He'll be useful. Brody Belt, again, not much of a receiver, but he's got that speed. Will Nixon, average receiver, 78 catching. I think some of the freshmen have better attributes, but he's going to be right up there. He might be one of our top 3 guys. Like, it might be Lure, one of the freshmen, and Will Nixon. Maybe in the slot for Will Nixon with his size. Lante Brown, still not great. Got some decent speed, though. And Sean Hardy, not terrible. Decent speed, okay receiver. Not a lot in the receiver room this year. There wasn't really last year either. Tight end, Hickman goes up to an 82. Still probably going to be the number 2, though. Only 74 speed. And his catching ratings are kind of on par with that freshman, even though he's a much better blocker. So, might come in as a starter for some formation subs. Rarisel Projaska, Miller, 80 overall backup. Piper goes up to a 78. Still probably going to be a backup. Banks up to 79 at backup center. Newly also a 79. Benhart also an 80 overall backup tackle. Ty Robinson, 84. Buckley up to a 78. Hookmacher up to a 77. I expected Buckley to be the number 2, so yeah. Reimer up to an 82. Payne up to an 81. Payne's got more speed. Reimer's awareness is only 67 at outside linebacker, while Payne is 80. 78 tackle, though, compared to 85. Play rec, pretty similar. Block shedding goes significantly to Reimer, but coverage, 67, 68. Not as good. So Payne might actually start. I don't know. It's probably going to be another thing about formation subs. Like, in our base 4-3, Reimer might start a left outside linebacker. But when we go to nickel, Payne might step in to be one of the 2 linebackers. Middle, we've got Honas, 90 overall. Hendrick as his backup at an 80. Not really much of a coverage guy either. Will Honas, more of a run defender. Nelson up to a 91, but still not much in terms of coverage. And just still mostly a run defender with that 96 tackle, 94 play rec, 90 block shed. Cornerback, Newsome up to a 79. Yeah, he's, of the returning guys, he's our best coverage guy, Quentin Newsome. Johnson, 80 and 82 as a 76. Clark, yeah, I doubt Clark's ever going to play much for this team. He's a senior. Even though he's 7'4", he just doesn't got the attributes. Buford, low 70s, or low 80s. Yeah, Williams. I don't know, I probably will go Buford over Williams because he's got that better speed. And he improved quite a bit in his coverage abilities. But we've got some freshmen coming in as well. That'll help out. Farmer up to an 82. Gates up to a 77. Gifford, 72 would be a backup. 71 kick accuracy. Still not good enough. He might be cut. And then Prista, it's a punter. All right, now we're at preseason. Let's start with the red shirting. I think we already kind of went over everybody we're going to red shirt. If there's any surprises, I'll show them, but probably just kind of what I went over earlier. Well, I'm immediately going to have a decision to make. We've got our 2 quarterbacks. I planned on starting Sam Green after seeing him walk on, but then I looked at his awareness, 54. Awareness is really important if you're using coach mode and just watching the plays. And I am terrified of starting a quarterback with 54 accuracy. And I'm also pretty terrified of Jeff Holland if we redshirt him, or even if we just don't start him. I'm worried he will transfer. So I think it's more important to make sure Holland stays here as our quarterback over the next 4 years. So I'm going to redshirt Sam Green, and Jeff Holland is going to be our starting quarterback. All right, I've set my depth chart. Okay, quick run through it. So starting quarterback is going to be Jeff Holland. Logan Smothers is backup. Jake Pierce is going to start at running back as true freshman. Ramir Johnson feels a little harsh to make him the backup, but I'm going to see a lot of both of them. The only thing Ramir Johnson has him at is agility and acceleration, both quite a bit higher. Awareness a little bit higher as well, but break tackle, Pierce is better. Trucking's the same, but elusiveness is just significant. 69 to 85. Ball carrier vision is higher. Spin move, juke move, both higher. Carrying the same. A little bit better of a receiver. So I think we're going to go Jake Pierce as the main guy, but Ramir Johnson's still going to see a lot of football. At fullback, Travis Vidone. At receiver, our number 1 is going to be true freshman Brian Donaldson. I think he's got the most well-rounded attributes. Lure, if he had gained any sort of speed in the offseason, he probably would have been the number 1. He's got the best catching ratings, but 79 speed, even if you're 6'4", I'd rather have Donaldson out there. He's got 74 catching, which is a little low, but everything else as a receiver is very high, and he's got better speed. Will Nixon is going to be the slot guy. Decent catching ratings, decent speed. Betts is going to be the number 4. Catching ratings I don't love, but he's got that really good excel and agility. Belt, the number 5, again, kind of similar. A little bit better speed, but Betts has a little bit better size, so I have him as the number 4. And Alante Brown's going to be the number 6, which means that James Hill is going to be redshirted this year. Tight end is going to be Jennings, Hickman, and Carney. Left tackle, Projotska. Piper is going to start at left guard. I was going to start Newsome, but Piper actually developed a lot more than I thought he would, so I think I'm going to redshirt Newsome this year. Piper's attributes are very, very in line with his, so I think I'm going to go with Piper, get that redshirt year for Newsome. Jurgen's going to be the starting center, obviously. Newly at right guard. Corcoran at right tackle. Left in, Ty Robinson. Right in, Antonio Gilmore. Defensive tackle is going to be Tim Hart as the number 1. Buckley is the number 2. Reimer starting out left outside linebacker, but like I said before, Payne's going to come in a lot in obvious passing situations. Middle linebacker is going to be Honas. Right outside linebacker is going to be Garrett Nelson. Cornerback, Gary Thompson, the true freshman, is going to be our number 1. His cover attributes are really similar to Quentin Newsome, but he's got 95 speed. So, yeah, he's going to be the number 1. Newsome is the number 2. Tyreek Johnson's going to be the number 3. He's actually got some decent coverage attributes now. Low 80s in terms of coverage. Buford is the number 4. Malik Williams is the number 5. We have redshirted Travis Williams. His speed and everything about him, his coverage attributes as well, are really good, but again, it's awareness. 53 awareness, a little low. That's why I decided to go with Johnson over him as the slot guy. It was between those two for the slot. Free safety is going to be Miles Farmer. Strong safety is going to be true freshman Blake Harper. Kicker, obviously, Leon Young. Punter, Pristup. Yakezian is going to return as the kick returner with Brody Belt as his backup. Brody Belt being the starting punt returner. And that's it. So what do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 offense, true freshman. 5, 6, 7. Yep, 7. 8 true freshmen. 9 if you include our kicker. We're going to have 9 true freshmen starting for us next year. All right, now I want to make our schedule. I want to have at least one easy game on here, and I think I will actually play an FCS team again this year, just because we have so many true freshmen starting. I think having that game, probably week 1, is going to be nice. I also want to schedule at least one game, probably just one game, against one of our biggest non-conference rivals. So one of these teams, Fresno State, Miami, Appalachian State, one of those is going to change for sure. And we'll see how it works out, how we're going to keep this around. But our conference schedule, we're going to start with Northwestern, then to Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, Penn State, Indiana, Michigan State. And we're going to end the season once again taking on Iowa, this time in their ground. So I think I'm happy with the schedule we've got now. I think I changed 3 of the 4 non-conference games. So we're starting off at home against FCS Northwest. Then we're going to go to Fresno State. That was one that was already on there that I decided to keep at Fresno State for the second game. And then our rival game for our non-conference schedule is going to be against Missouri this year. And we're going to bring them to Nebraska before we start Big Ten play. But it's going to be interrupted after the second game against Illinois with a rematch against Kentucky, the team we beat in our bowl game this year. We're going to Kentucky next year. They're going to be looking for a little bit of revenge. Finish this off, we're going to set up our recruiting board for the start of the season. First, we're going to look through our team, decide where our weaknesses are, where we need to recruit players at. Quarterback, we're going to be fine. We've got Jeff Holland, and we've got Green redshirting, and everyone else is a underclassman, sophomore, or freshman. Running back, I think we're also good at. Ramir Johnson's going to be senior next year, but we've got plenty of other running backs too that are pretty young. Fullback, we're good. Wide receiver, probably would be an area I would consider. We're losing Lure, who's currently one of our best ones. Donaldson is going to be a sophomore. We will have Hill as a redshirt freshman next year. So with Lure gone, our number 1 through 3 will be Donaldson, Hill, and then probably Nixon in the slot. And we still got guys like Brown, who's going to be a sophomore, Hardy, who's going to be a sophomore. But I wouldn't be against bringing in some more wide receivers next year. Tight end, I think we're okay. We've got Hickman. We've got Jennings, who's going to start as a true freshman. We've got another freshman, Carney. I think we're okay there. Tackle, I think we're also okay at. Maybe one tackle because we've got Miller, who's a junior on the left-hand side as the backup, and Ben Hart, who's a junior on the right-hand side. This means I have to do less recruiting for tackles when they're seniors. So I might be looking for one tackle. Guard also would be something I'd consider. Newsom's probably going to start next year. And we've got Latovsky who could back him up, but an improved backup wouldn't be a bad thing. Latovsky only a 72 as a redshirt freshman. And then both our right guards are juniors. So I definitely want at least one guard. Center, I think we're going to be okay. We'll have Roberts and I guess Banks is a junior. Maybe a guy that can play center as well. Interior lineman, really, you can play any interior lineman in any of these 3 positions and be all right. So guard or center, probably at least one, if not 2 at the minimum. Tackle, I want at least 1. Defensive end, Robinson's going to be a senior next year. We'll have Brown, who's going to be a redshirt freshman. Gilmore's going to be starting. Again, if I can get some good players at defensive end, because I don't think we got top end talent this year, unfortunately, even though I tried. So would be something I'd consider as well. Defensive tackle, I think we're okay. Buckley's going to start as a redshirt freshman. Hart's going to start as a true freshman. We've got sophomore and a freshman backing him up. I think we're okay at defensive tackle. Outside linebacker, big need though. Both Reimer and Payne are going to be graduating. I'll use with Butler and our right outside linebacker, Nelson's going to be graduating. So we've got Gunnarsson, who's probably going to start next year as a right outside linebacker. But our next best outside linebacker is Jamari Butler. He's going to be a sophomore, around 78 or so overall. Would like to improve that position. Middle linebacker, also probably want at least one just because we've got Honus is going to be graduating. Hendrick will be fine as a starter next year, but he'll be a senior next year, as will Snodgrass. Corner, yeah, we definitely need corners. We've got 3 seniors who are going to be graduating, and we didn't get 2 corners we thought we were going to get, who would have been freshmen, and we would have been fine. But since we didn't get those players, we're definitely going to need some corners. Safety, free safety definitely could be a need with Farmer and Polagates, both as juniors this year. Strong safety. We do have McMahon who can play free safety, but maybe a safety, probably a little bit lower priority because we do have McMahon. Kicker, we're good. True freshman. Punter, he's a senior, so we do need a punter. All right. Now let's see who can bring in Nebraska for year 2. All right, we've got our week 1 recruiting board set. I've actually advanced to week 1 just so we could finish our scouting and get this board set up. So our number 1 target this year is going to be Richard Hand. He is a pass rushing defensive end. All these players, every single one, all 35 on our board, had top 10 interest in Nebraska. So all of these guys already have interest in us, but Richard Hand is the number 1 guy. 81 overall defensive end, 88 finesse moves, and the rest of his game is not bad either. He would be a very good pass rusher for us, and he might start year 1. Number 2 is Joseph Monroe. He's a lot lower rated than some of these guys below him, 75 overall, especially the outside linebackers. But I think for what we want for a left outside linebacker, which is kind of what I'm looking for, out of my linebackers, I think it's the most important position I'm looking for. He fits it the best. He is a very, very good coverage linebacker. 83 zone coverage as a true freshman is fantastic. And the rest of his attributes aren't bad either. Decent play rec and pursuit, good tackler, okay enough block shedder, good enough speed. I think he's really good. I think Joseph Monroe could be a really good coverage outside linebacker for us. So he's our number 2 target. John Jude is our number 3. Kind of an interesting prospect. I've said before, this game doesn't really generate many 3-4 pass rushing outside linebackers. Well, John Jude is definitely that. 78 power moves, 77 finesse moves as an outside linebacker, good block shed, decent tackling, good hit power, decent pursuit and play rec. Not the best in coverage, but for a replacement at right outside linebacker, also with 99 acceleration, I think that could be a really good fit for him as a right outside linebacker that can focus more on run stopping and rushing the passer. So I think he could be really good for us. Matt Lamb is next up. Those are the main 3 guys I'm targeting. Next up, Matt Lamb, 79 overall outside linebacker. Quite a few decent outside linebackers that are interested in us. He's decent enough in coverage, better than John Jude. And he's a really good tackler, 87 tackling, 73 block shed, not bad. Doesn't have the pass rushing ability, but good pursuit and play rec. He could even be a guy that plays middle linebacker for us, possibly. Block shedding, I would like to be a little bit higher, but just that really good tackling. I think he'd be a decent middle linebacker. Cole Jones was originally a guy I had like number 1 on the board, and then, I looked through all the attributes and I liked Monroe's better for that role. He fits kind of the same role as Monroe as like the coverage linebacker, but compared to 83 zone coverage, he has 73. So not as good of a coverage guy. He's got really good pursuit and play rec, better than Joseph Monroe, but the coverage skills aren't quite there, and he's not even as good of a tackler. Does have some decent acceleration, but yeah, if we can't get Joseph Monroe, he might fly up our boards to kind of be one of our number 1 targets because we really need that coverage outside linebacker. Next up is Kyle Wade, a guard, 79 overall, very good guard, 90 strength, 88 acceleration, 85 pass block, 80 run block, 78 impact. Really good guard, one of the better players on our board. BJ Cook, 75 overall, cornerback. I think is better than his attributes than his overall says. 87 man in zone as a freshman with 90 speed, 91 acceleration. Only 68 press, so he'd probably be more of a slot guy. But he is 6'2", 188. Maybe as a redshirt freshman, that press goes up a little bit. He could be good on the outside. He's got the speed and acceleration to do it. And I'm a little bit worried about his agility playing as a slot corner. Typically one of the most important attributes, I think, for a slot corner is agility, because they need to be ready to break on any sort of out or in cutting route, which is something that wide cornerbacks don't have to deal with quite as much. Next up, another really good pass rusher, Chris Crowell. Decent pass rusher, 80 power moves, 84 finesse moves, a little bit more balanced, and he's a really good run stopper with that 89 block shed, 82 strength, 76 speed. He could be a really good replacement for Ty Robinson, I think, in that same kind of role. He's got some okay size, 6'2", 257. Not quite the pass rusher of Richard Hand, but Hand is a little bit more of a right end, I think, in my kind of system with 76 block shed. I would really like to get them both. Next up, the first athlete, Ashton Brown. When I first looked at him, I thought he was going to be a cornerback, 79 man, 82 zone, 81 press. But I don't know. I feel like he could be a really good free safety. Like, I want to get a safety in. I'd like to get in at least one safety, probably just one safety. And I think of all the safeties that were interested in us, I think he's the best. Like, he's got good. Oh, sorry about that. He's got good enough tackling, 73 tackling, amazing play rec, solid pursuit, really good coverage skills, and really good speed, which I value very highly at free safety, which is where he would play. So I really like Ashton Brown as a free safety. He could still play corner, but I think free safety would be a good role for him. Chris Reed, another guard, another really solid guard. 86 strength, 92 acceleration, 82 pass and run block. Impact a little low, but still a pretty good guard prospect. We can't get Kyle Wade, or we could possibly get both, because I'm not against bringing in a lot of talented offensive linemen. Next up, hopefully our punter. I haven't scouted him because I don't care. He's a punter. He's the highest overall. Even if he's a bust, he's still gonna be a solid punter. So I'm gonna go for John Robinson to be our punter next season. Kyle Williams, a middle linebacker. It's kind of getting towards kind of the end of the guys I'm heavily targeting. Good speed, 88 speed, 85 XL, 878 block shed's really solid. Coverage skills aren't terrible. Not an amazing tackler and play rec, but good enough. Solid option if we can't get some of the other linebacker prospects. Quentin Ingram, I think, is the second best safety. He looks good in his, if you look at his coverage, his tackling, his pursuit. Play rec a little low, but speed of 81. If I'm playing him as a free safety, I think that's a little low. Might be able to do a job as a strong safety with that 80 block shed as well. He could be a really good coverage strong safety. He is naturally a strong safety. I think that is actually his best position. And I'm looking more for a free safety. Reggie Wilson is a free safety, but he can't cover really. 69 man, 72 zone. More of a tackler. Block shed is very low though. He's kind of a weird prospect. He's got the speed. He's got the tackling. Pursuit and play work are solid. Just not great coverage. And not good enough as a block shedder to be like an in the box strong safety for me. So not totally sure about Reggie Wilson. He probably would play free, but just a little bit worried about his coverage skills. But if he redshirts a year, maybe he sits another, his coverage will be up to a good enough point where he could be a good starter for us. The first receiver, I'm not super excited about the receivers that are available. Charlie Powers is probably the best of them though. 78 catching, which is really nice for a freshman wide receiver. 89 speed, 89 XL at 6 foot. But it's the 76 catch in traffic that really worries me. He's got really good route running as well at 83. 67 catch in traffic though. I don't love that, but still he's kind of the best of them out there. Ryan Martinez, another quarterback, good coverage skills, 84 man, 82 zone. Press also a little bit low, so he would be more of a slot corner. I think he'd be always a slot corner with that 91 agility. I think he'd fit the slot really well, 6 foot. Yeah, high play rec, decent pursuit. Block shed is extremely low, which is a little worrying, but I think he'd be a solid guy if we can get him, but not a super high overall kind of guy. Robert Barclay, one of the higher overall guys. I just don't love his skill set. 78 overall. I think he can play quarterback actually pretty well. 90 throw power, 83 accuracy. But I don't know. We're okay at quarterback. We don't really need a quarterback. His other position would probably be like outside linebacker or maybe safety, but he's a little bit slow for a safety at 78 speed. So I think probably outside linebacker would be better because he's got okay coverage skills, good play rec, good pursuit, okay enough tackling, pretty low hit power. Block shedding is 43 though, so that's why I'm not really that happy with him. I don't see a position he really fits very well outside of quarterback, and even that, like, he's not the fastest. Got good acceleration. 78 speed's not bad for a quarterback, but he has very little break tackle ability, so not really an elite quarterback prospect either. Andrew Mangum, number 2 receiver I'm looking at. Again, just another one of those guys I'm not super in love with, but he's solid, good speed, good acceleration. He is 6'7", so he's got that going for him. 72 catching is fine. Better than the 6'7" wide receiver we were looking at last year that didn't end up getting. And he's got some break tackle ability as well. So I kind of like Mangum. I'm going to put him over Barclay. He's a better player than Barclay. I do think I like Powers as like an actual receiver a little bit better. Much better catching. Route running also much better. But I like Mangum's skill set. If not a lot of people are going for him, I'd be interested in bringing Andrew Mangum in. Jerome Miles, another receiver. Again, this one doesn't really have one attribute to his game that really stands out. He's good enough route running, good enough spec catch. Catching and catching traffic kind of low. Really good acceleration. Speed not crazy. Doesn't really break tackles at an extremely high rate. Not a lot to his game. 6'2". Jack Haley, a tackle, but I think he's probably better at guard. Like most of the tackles I go after, apparently. 86 run block, only 78 pass block. Maybe a right tackle. A little bit low impact blocking. Strength is good though. Really good acceleration at 6'4", 306. I think he can actually, I think right tackle might actually be his best position. CJ George, another guard. Really good pass blocker. He actually might be better at tackle, even though he does have good impact blocking and strength. And 6'3", 315 is a little weirdly shaped for a tackle. So not totally sure about CJ George, how he fits in, but would be against bringing him in as well. Pretty high overall. Finally, to round out the kind of bottom of the barrel prospects I'm looking for, even though they have solid overalls, just their skill sets aren't amazing in an area I really value. Terrence Warren is one of those. He's got good speed, good tackling, but really low play rec. Coverage is just okay. Block shed's pretty good, so he's probably more of a strong safety, but again, not a player I'm in love with. That low play rec really hurts. Maurice Young, a middle linebacker. Again, his coverage skills are very low. High 50s, low 60s. But as a run-stopping linebacker, he does that well. Chad Brown, one of the last receivers I'm going after. Really good route run, 72 catching. Got some really good acceleration, but just he doesn't have any break tackle ability at all. 6'2", 210, not massive. Really good acceleration, good speed. Just doesn't wow you in really any area. Brad Adams, another outside linebacker. Lower speed, decent power moves and finesse moves. Block shed a little low. Pretty good zone coverage, though. Really good zone coverage. One of the better coverage guys, just that speed's a little bit worrying as a coverage outside linebacker. And low play rec. And finally, Henry Gibson. A little bit better speed. Finesse moves aren't quite there. A little bit better block shed. Not quite as good in coverage. And his play rec and pursuit, though, are very good. But tackling of only 70 compared to Adams' 80. All these guys kind of have like one or two things that make them non-ideal for the role they would play for me. All right, that went a little bit longer than I'd like, so I'm going to wrap this up. We had a couple preseason All-Americans. All-NCAA first team, Ty Robinson, starting at the left end. He led the nation in sacks, so that's not too surprising. He's our only All-NCAA preseason All-American. He was also first team in the Big Ten. And for the Big Ten second team, we had Yaquez Yant as a returner and Luke Reimer as an outside linebacker. So that is it for our first offseason here at Nebraska. We will start year 2 next episode against FCS Northwest. Between now and then, I'll set our formation subs. I'll finalize our playbook. But we are ready to start year 2. We're going to have 8 or 9 starting true freshmen. This will be interesting. If you made it this far, why don't you like the video, subscribe, and click the bell. The links to all my socials and my Twitch are in the description. I really appreciate all your support. Thank you all for joining me. And I'll see you next time.